Meah really wanted to be here on the show tonight, but he couldn't due to traveling. And as such, he had asked if he could send a video clip of, his say on mental health and men. I agreed, and I'm now gonna have you listen to that clip. He had already had some questions, so he's gonna answer those questions, introduce himself, and hope you can learn something from what he has to say. Without further ado, I would, you know, just look at the video, listen to it, and take something from it. Mohib Meah.
Hi there, welcome back to the chat. My name is Mohib Meah, and I'm the founder of Ace of Chalices Tarot. I'm also a medical student who is studying out of Guyana, South America, the Rajiv Gandhi University of Science and Technology. Alright, you guys may recognize me from Texilla or all around Georgetown, but I'm here today with MENding Mindsets, and we're here to discuss a couple of questions here for the radio show that Shazam Samora sent me out here, right? So let's go. I'll see if I'll answer these questions, and hope you check me out at the end, alright? So what we got here is question 1 is, why is mental health for men important? And he put after that, he went a step further and said, as it is for everybody else. Alright, so what I want to let you know here, why is it important for men? Why is mental health so important for men, right? Well, the reason why is this is a man's world. Everybody else just lives in it. And this is the cold, hard truth. And the thing is, as the head of the planet, if that person is not healthy, how will that person make better decisions, right? If men are the leaders of this world, whether you like it or not, and I'm going to go into that, all right? I'm going to go into why that is, right? Shortly, right? Shazam's ill. I really hope that when we do get to actually sit and have one of these interviews, that we can go deep into the answer, and I'll say why I think so, right? It could be my subjective belief and understanding, but let me explain why. His question was, why is it important for men? My answer is that this is a man's world. Everyone else just lives in it. And when certain societies forget that, these societies implode. I'm from the US, so take it from me. My country is a giant soy boy country. And the reason why is because promiscuity is going unchecked. And with that, like female promiscuity is going unchecked, and with that, men's mental health is plummeting because men's physical health is plummeting. Why mental health is important for men is because most of our society depends on men. And if we do not take care of our men, we are the ones hurting ourselves. That goes for men and women alike. That's question 1. That's why I think that it is important to take care of your man, because your man is making sacrifices for everyone on the table. But you can't say that the other way around, and you won't say that the other way around. But I'm also going to go a step further and say you can't say that any way around. Ultimately, it will be that. And it's because, if I'll give you this example. This is a simple one because I'm in the medical industry just like you. So this is a simple example. If you had 100 female doctors, they're the finest doctors. They're great at medicine. They know how to take care of patients. They also know and understand business. But is it going to be those girls getting those machines off of those trucks? If you didn't have trucks bringing those materials to the hospital, you wouldn't have a hospital. If you didn't have men building the building, would you have a building? No, you would not, right? There are women getting into these fields, but it is extremely scarce. It's not even a valid argument, okay? Let's move on to the next. Why do you think men suffer in silence? Question 2. Okay, I put 4 reasons here, but I first want to tell you about my own story. I was someone who was very expressive about my issues ever since I was a kid, because it's something I had learned from my relatives. They talked about their problems openly. It was a way of relating. What I hadn't understood at a young age was that some people take it when you relate to them, right? Some people take that as very disturbing. They find it intrusive. That if you just met me, you can't be talking to me about your problems. And even that boundary is something subjective. Everybody feels different about discussing issues. So this very much turns off a kid, you know? If a kid feels resistance where they went to get help, they're going to hold that for the rest of their life. And they're going to blame the action of taking help, right? And here's the thing about males. I'm saying males because it's something we learn as a young kid and we just roll with it so far that we don't even recognize our abuse, our lack in perception, in perceiving our own change. We start to feel judged for taking help or for asking for it. And I'll tell you why this came about, right? In my own words, this came about because men have a natural mechanism of fixing their life on their own. However, the way society is in this era, Western society to be exact, and other countries are emulating Western society. If you hear a talking point where I'm making a bold statement about society, I'm really referring to where I'm from, which is Western society, and it is copied. It is copied throughout most of the third world, right? So, you know, people in Guyana have no real reason to follow American culture, but they do. They copy their vernacular, they copy their swag, they copy their style, right? They copy their moves. They even copy the music they listen to when they have no real reason to do that, you know? The Caribbean has its own culture. It's very rich. I would even go as far to say it makes more sense than American R&B and hip hop. I'll tell you that. That's a story for another day. We're not gonna go on too much of a rant for that. We're gonna answer the question: why do men hide their things? Why I hid my problems was the people I shared my problems with had a very superficial take on my situations. They had very apathetic responses to me venting or talking about my problems. I was not ever much of a complainer, but I had realized as an adult that looking back on my childhood, that people saw it that way no matter what. People saw it as complaining from me because I'm a guy. But people listen to women complaining because they just want something from the women. Listen, I'll tell you why. Because how many times have you been with a woman who takes your advice, listens to you, and then doesn't do it? Right? You know, I'm sexist, but that's another topic for another day. That's not important right now, okay? So listen to this. There are certain factors that happen in a person's past that traumatize them from asking help anymore. And while some of that helps a guy to develop testosterone, to develop a mindset, you know, being left alone, that does actually develop a man in many ways. However, no matter what knowledge you have, no matter what you learn, and no matter what you put together, without the right guidance, you would not be able to apply that knowledge. And without the right environment, you will not grow either, despite you overcoming your challenges. This is what a lot of guys don't understand. If they had the right person that told them the right thing, it would transform their life in a second. And I stand by that, and I mean that. It's true. So many guys, they blindly stay with the same friends. They blindly stay with the same people around them. They get comfortable, and they don't realize that that is the disease. Is ignoring what they have to do. It becomes their disease. Men suffer in silence, and these are the 4 words I wrote down were, they suffer in silence because of shame, bad experiences in the past when it came to asking help, abusers and abusive relationships in the past that have blocked them from caring about people or even caring to be understood about people. Like at a certain point they just gave up because of how toxic their life was. And the 4th one is apathetic responses from people that they really did feel close to. You know, my older brother, he's like 4 years older than me. when I would vent about my days in high school, he would just ignore me. You know, he would half listen, and when he would give me a response, you could tell that he listened to me. He listened to the words I was saying, but he didn't always get the whole picture because he was not invested enough in being present with me, right? And this was a big turn for me. Like, after 15, I never asked anyone for emotional help ever again. I'm 30 years old now. Just because I saw, like, how my brother was being an asshole when it came to me just talking about my life. When we see that people don't care, we stop caring also. And even though that snowballs into more stress, you know, chronically for a person's heart, we ignore it because we get told that it's okay to ignore it. It's not, right? And we can get you the help you need. If you have issues like this, we can get you the help you need. Just reach out. We'll talk more about that in a future time. So, what would I say to males listening? Okay. I would say that the most important thing is the words you're going to tell yourself. More than anything, you have to tell yourself words of truth. You have to tell yourself words that remind you that life is going on. You can't continue to define your life by what had happened up to this point. You have to break free from that notion, because the truth is, how you see yourself is not enough. It's not who you really are. It might shock you, but there are people around you that might look up to you and you have no idea, because if you only weigh, you only feel your weight, you start to even ignore the things that go right. And I hope that what I'm saying reaches some guy out there who needs to hear it, because anything in life can turn around. I really want you to feel that, what I'm saying. A lot of guys, they get so beat up and hurt because they're not understanding nature around them. They blame their girl problems on something that happened in the world, or they think that someone else is responsible. It's not like that. And believe me when I say, a guy's life gets better when you get older. I've told a couple of my friends struggling with mental health, I've told them that, look, it's just not that time right now. You need to hold it together and you need to keep developing yourself, even when you don't see any result. You have to know that and keep yourself with that level of integrity that you're putting something in. You will come out something else. But only you can do that for you. You have to realize that everyone else let you down up to this point. That's why you don't seek help. But guess what? They would have let you down in the future anyway. Perhaps you are going to be the person that sets the standard and sets the testament. And the thing is, I know that if there's men listening here, they're going to be uplifted by this message. They're not going to be torn down by it. So when we have environments that they claim to help us, but they're tearing us down, it's counterintuitive. We need to close that noise. And we need to start over from understanding words of power. Last question here that I'm going to be answering here today is, what can women do about this? The first thing I want to say is that women don't have to do too much about it, because it's our problem, and I'll say why is this. I do believe they need to be accountable for all the bullshit that they do. That has nothing to do with my main point. You know what I mean? All the bullshit that they do, they have to be accountable for all the messes that they make. But you have to understand this one thing, what I mean. All women have to do, if you want to support a man in your life, it is take care of the environment that you two share. It's not one person's responsibility, it's both people's responsibility. And that same environment that you water, right? There's a saying in America, what do they say? The grass is always greener on the other side, it always looks like that. Fuck all that. Right? This is one thing I told my ex before I dumped her ass was, look, the grass is green where you water it. Right? And everybody knows that to be true. But they still don't water their grass. So for women, if you think that your life could be better, it means you gotta do something. No one's life gets better by someone else doing something. Everyone's life is better when we do something personally, male or female. So what would I do if there was one message that I could give to women, how to do the best job for your man? You need to be someone that he wants. The same way that men have troubles dating women because they try to see, they want a woman to like what they like. That's not it. You have to be something she likes. The same way women have to be something that men like. You can't be what you like and expect a man to like you. So, if you want to facilitate the environment that leaves you no argument that you're doing the wrong thing, right? You want to prove you're doing the right thing? Focus on the environment and what you can do better yourself. You're not responsible for someone else. But if you fix the environment, you facilitate a situation where also that person has no excuse to blame you. They instead get to use that environment and continue to make something of themselves. If they can't, you should not appease someone who's not listening to you. And this goes for men and women. Don't appease your relationship if you know it's not going somewhere. You need to be open and honest about it. And you in your honesty, can help that person also develop their life into something better. Okay? Because men are always on that mission, whether anybody tells them or not, is to become something better. We just all need to listen a little more, be empathic to each other's needs. Empathetic, empathic, same shit. But the point is, if we go that a little extra step to do it, the results will speak for themselves. This has been Mohib Meah. I hope you enjoyed this. I love you guys. I'll see you later. PickACard.com, ASAChallenges.net. Signing out here, Guyana. I love you, alright? I'll see you soon. Bye.